So I'm at this cafe after not having dinner last night and only getting a protein shake because the way that my body functions and is set up is like when I first wake up, it's really hard for me to have like a actual meal, even though I know that's like what my body is probably craving. But like I physically would not be able to like eat a meal because I pretty much just got up and came to this cafe. It's been a tough couple weeks and an even tougher 12 hours. I just saw a white moth. As it can be shown, I'm no longer going to school, at least this year. So I don't have a lot of time left to prepare. And where I've been at mentally, I was at a breaking point maybe like a week ago, which I'm still recovering from. And I just feel like if I continue on the way that I'm doing, that another one will be coming on soon. Like I can feel it. And it's because of all of this pressure that I've been putting on myself to perform, which is like hard to admit that I've been performing. As someone who is all like, I cherish authenticity and like that's what's most important to me, and that's the type of person I want to be and become, which is probably why I'm here, right? It's performing because I feel like ever since the situation with the roommates has been dismantled, like I had roommates when I first came here. We were looking for places. I'm literally still getting emails back from places that we requested tours from, but we didn't get into the process of like signing anything, so we weren't that deep in it. But still, we had started looking for places back in June, so I had been talking with them for a minute. Then at the end of July, when I got here, one of them pulled out and everything kind of fell apart. And it's just been a constant state of trying to find my footing while also trying to prepare and get shit done for school. And I am accepting finally that like I can't do that. I can't do both. Because trying to do both at this point is killing me. I know that I said that in some of the TikToks that are now privated, where I was having a mental breakdown. But yeah, it was killing me, and I was wondering why it was feeling like doing these things were killing me. Like it reminded me of an old version of me, an old phase of my life where I was always overworking myself and feeling like I was dying slowly. Like my body was deteriorating. It's like, basically, I know, because of who I am, that there is no true guarantee of whether or not I'll still even want to attend school a year from now. And that's really scary for me, because I was so excited. And it's not to say that like I won't be next year, but the thing is, like, I know that I can't say that I will be next year either. Like I just know there's no absolute, because me trying to form an absolute is like how I got here, right? Is why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, why I'm feeling this heartbreak for not being able to get what I want right now because of me focusing so much on the absolute. Either way, I know I was meant to come here, and maybe this was just the way to convince me, to convince myself, or my spirit guide's way of like convincing me. Because we all know, like, they'll lie sometimes. No, they'll be like, oh yeah, or they'll like half truth, or just give you only so much information. Like they'll be like, yeah, that's the one for you, and it's like that's the one for you right now, and then you end up having to break up with them. Like that's how they work. But it's genuine. It's not in a, I don't know. I hope I'm making sense. But it's because both of these things are so big, right? Moving states and going to school. And I feel like when losing the one thing that was going to stabilize me, like having a stable living situation, it became more and more obvious that I couldn't do both. But I just had all this pressure that I was putting on myself to perform and like be what I've been taught is like great, but it's not my greatness. My greatness is taking care of myself. My greatness is thinking of myself and how I'm being affected and taking that into account, which I haven't been doing until now. Not fully until now. Which is like really disappointing. It's really disappointing that I was treating myself like this, and it's also really disappointing that I don't have that sense of school or whatever right now, because I think that after I lost that sense of stability with the roommates that I've been clinging on and holding on so tightly for dear life, with going to school, starting school in a couple weeks, as my sense of stability, but that's not something that was ever going to actually make me feel stable. And so the way things are looking now, like in this current moment, I would really still love to go to school next year, but it's also really scary because I know more than, I don't want to say more than anyone, but like I just know how much can change in a year. I know how much I can change in a year. I know more than anyone how much I can change in a year, and what the things that I want can change in a year. So, but I do know that school is not the only reason why I felt guided to this place, and so I don't want to minimize it to that, which I feel like I have been by holding on to that absolute, and that being the thing that I was choosing to stabilize me. And now that's not there anymore, or it's not going to be. Just watching the foundation kind of fall, which was never meant to, it was never meant to be built in that way. And that's on me, that's my bad, my fault. I'm taking accountability with myself. But yeah, I'm honestly taking this as an opportunity to recenter and get a grip on my mental health, and the positives that because I can never stop being optimistic for whatever reason, even when I'm heartbroken, is that, at least it's one thing to focus on. The one thing to focus on is my stability, is on me finding a place, instead of trying to figure out these two things that it was taking such a toll on me. And like I've said before that my mental health is really important to me, but it truly is. That's the focal point of my life. That's the thing that's supposed to stabilize me. My mental health and my treatment of myself. because of the life that I grew up having, the trauma that I experienced. And I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but like a huge part of the reason why I began my spiritual journey like more intentionally, because I've always been spiritual, but I grew up Baptist, went through the phase of being agnostic and atheist and stuff like that before finding my own footing and my own meanings and discovering my own personal relationship with my spirit. But the reason why I began what am I saying? The reason why I began forming a personal relationship with my spirit was because of my mental health, was because I needed something, anything to help me feel connected to myself. And around the time that I was delving into my personal spirituality, I was in therapy as well, so that also helped me validate my experiences of like the trauma I was experiencing. And also the therapist that I used to have, she was like the only good therapist I've had. She was spiritual. I didn't really talk to her too much about spirituality, but you could just, the way that she worded things, she just had a lot of wisdom. And I think that connection in my life really also helped me learn to trust myself more. But yeah, like my mental health is most important to me, and it goes hand in hand with my spirituality. And I'm realizing how resistant to change I've been, and how that's been affecting me mentally. Is like a lot to not deal with, but it's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard pill to swallow. That I was being the problem. But, I'm trying my best, and my best is more than enough, so I do forgive myself. I have to, and I choose to, because I just love myself way too dearly to hate myself for making a mistake. But I know I'll be okay. That's the thing. It's like there's always an undercurrent for me at this point now where I have a knowing that I'll always be okay, but that doesn't take away from the feelings and what I need to express and what I need to share with myself and all of that. Anyway, the positives that I already shared is like being able to focus on one thing, and also I feel like it'll give me time to like really stabilize, like truly stabilize, and form something physical around my stability. So having a physical place that I can call home and create into a home and like a safe space that's like my room, like to myself, where I can go back to and I can make sure my mental is good and I can practice my personal spirituality and all those different things that I can create. I know that'll help me stabilize, and I know that that's what I always need to be choosing to stabilize, if that makes sense. Like I don't need anything outside of myself, I guess, at the end of the day. And also my stability comes from within me. It comes from me. So trying to use these outside things to stabilize me, even in new spaces, obviously is detrimental to me. I have to continue to choose me, the things that I know stabilize me within me, as the one and only stabilizer, no matter what point I'm in my life, no matter what phase, no matter what place I'm in. That has to be the thing that stabilizes me, myself. So I think that's what I'm learning right now. That's what I'm choosing to take from this, really. I'm also going to take this as an opportunity to delve more into my creativity, because like Georgia is not for me. Like I don't need to go back to Georgia. And it was like a blockage for me. Like I felt like my creativity was constantly being halted, and I feel like even in this space, even where I'm experiencing this heartbreak and all of this like chaos or whatever, I feel like I'm still more in a space to create here, then I would be dealing with something like this there. So I'm also going to take this as an opportunity to really dive more in confirmation, dive more into my creativity, and hopefully something great or just my greatness can come out of it a little bit more. Yeah, I feel like I'm really having to let go of the feeling and of the sense of failure for things not going the way that I wanted them to, the way that I was imposing for them to go. Because a part of me, when coming to this realization, kind of made me feel like, and this was like one of my fears that I had as well with going to school, was me having to make the same choice that I did the first time I tried to go to school, because when I first tried to go to school, I wasn't able to afford it. My mom wasn't helping me, even though I was living with her, and it was just a lot of chaos. And so I ended up having to choose between like surviving and school, and so I chose survival. But maybe I didn't choose survival, because although I was like, okay, I can't keep going to school right now, and so I dropped out of school. That same month, I also chose to move out of her house because it was destroying my mental health. So maybe this whole time, like, I haven't been choosing survival. I've just been choosing myself. Because when I had this realization, I was like, oh, I can't go to school right now. Like right now, I realized that it was because of like how it was affecting my mental health, and I'm like, I have to make sure my mental health is good. Otherwise, I'm just layering on more pressure, more layers, which will cause me to have breaking points more often and sooner rather than later, because I don't have that balance, that stability or sustainability established. And so right now, last night, I was realizing, like, this isn't the same as like last time. From like, I'm not choosing survival, I'm choosing myself, I'm choosing my mental health, I'm choosing the thing that is most important to me, which is myself, making sure I'm good. But I'm realizing even now, or like realizing now as I'm saying this, that like even then, even the first time, that I wasn't choosing survival, like I was choosing myself then too. That even when I'm gonna cry, that even when I didn't know it, that even when I didn't have the vocabulary for it, and all I had were the feelings for it, I'm choosing myself. I'm choosing what feels right to me. I'm choosing what feels like best to me. What provides me a feeling of safety. Yeah. Because to choose to leave my mom's house that same month that I had to drop out of school, that was definitely me choosing myself. I was dealing with abuse constantly, and I was choosing to save myself. And like right now, I'm like dealing with all this like pressure that I was putting on myself, all this pressure because of like the timeline, and I can feel it killing me. And so yet again, I'm choosing myself. I'm choosing the safety of myself. I'm choosing the love of myself, because I'm not going to do anything that doesn't feel right to me. And the more time passes, like the longer I am on this journey, the more clear what feels right to me. Like it's like easier to discern. Even if it's not easy to accept, it's easier to discern. And so it's like even the toughest choices I'm able to make, because I know what feels right to me, and I'm going to choose the tough choice, which is really the easy choice, because choosing myself is easy. I don't know. I think I just had a breakthrough. Oh my god, I think I just had a breakthrough. Yeah. I guess this next year is going to be focused on my stability and my creativity, and just me. It's just about to be about me. and the ways that feel right. I don't know. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do know. That's what's about to happen. So.